I connect with a lot of people. I have a really strong community. I have a lot of peers at other companies who I can talk to, who get it. If I'm having a bad day, I can text somebody and be like, I had a really hard day today. And they'll be like, girl, I know.
I'm Cassie Coquero, Head of Communications at Thorn.
And I'm Payliz Halai, Senior Manager of Partnerships at Thorn, and this is Safe Space.
So speaking of humans, I want to shift to the humans behind this work because I know it's something you care a lot about, you talk a lot about. So to start, if anybody listening sort of follows you on LinkedIn, they know that you're, yes, doing trust and safety yourself, but you're also teaching it and you're talking about it and you're sharing resources and you're tagging people and you're building conversations and you're giving helpful reminders. So what is this instinct that you have we got it at the beginning, but sort of bring this community together, teach, learn, connect? When did that begin for you?
It began sort of midway through when I was at Grindr. So 5 years ago or so. I had been at OkCupid for 10 years before that. And I had talked to other people in Match Group. So OkCupid's a dating app, but it's owned by Match Group, which also owns Tinder and Hinge and a bunch of others. And so like trust and safety people talk to each other there quite a bit. But I didn't talk that much to anybody outside of Match Group. And so when I left and started somewhere else, this whole sort of world opened up to me. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's other people out here. And then I also realized that I had been doing it for a long time. But when I was isolated, I think I didn't quite realize how much longer I'd been doing it than many other people. And so I started to sort of see some people make similar mistakes that I had and had this instinct to be like, no, like learn from my mistakes. Don't do the same thing. And so I felt like I had a lot to share there. So that sort of one side of it is just gradually building confidence as I moved from role to role and kind of realizing the world was a lot larger than I had thought that it was and wanting to give back. The other part of it is I do a lot better in social situations when I have a job to do. And I realized if I am writing things or running workshops or doing a project on the side, it gives me an excuse to connect with people and talk with people with some kind of framework around it that makes me feel more comfortable talking about it. Like, you put me in a room with a bunch of random people, I will be so incredibly awkward. But if you put me in a room with trust and safety people, then I'll be like, oh, like, I know how to do this. Like, I have a job to do here. I am the person who will like help everybody and help teach them and connect them to people. And so yeah, part of it is like my own social anxiety and just general awkwardness that makes me overcompensate by doing other things.
I mean, it's just so good to know about yourself that's, that it helps you, because in this case, it also helps other people around you who I'm sure are feeling some of the same, whether it's social anxiety or anxiety talking about this hard work or whatever it is. It definitely is bringing people together. So I think that's great. And it's a great thing to know about yourself. Talk to me a little bit about the hard parts of trust and safety, like when you're feeling or you're seeing other people feel super burned out from viewing difficult content or making really impossible decisions. What do you wish more people would say out loud about this work that they don't?
I think, there's so many things. It's a really, really hard space. I am glad that we're talking more about mental health and trust and safety more than we ever have before. I think there's more research on it than there ever has been. And that's like a really, really positive thing. I think one gap that I see is a lot of when we talk about this stuff, we're talking about frontline content moderators, and they're definitely the most vulnerable, have the lowest pay, have the most grueling jobs, are exposed to the most content. Like, that is where the focus should be. I think that there also, however, as well, there's a lot of burnout on the leadership level, and the higher that you get in leadership, the more isolated you are. You don't have peers at the company to talk to about these kinds of things. And honestly, almost every trust and safety leader I've ever talked to has been burned out at one point or another. And we don't, nobody's doing studies on that or talking about it publicly. There's not a lot of places leaders can go to for help. You're supposed to kind of hold it together for your team. And they're often stuck between society at large and their team, or the executive team and investors and their team, or the users and their team. Like, leaders are stuck between all of these different areas and have to somehow like keep moving forward. So I think that's like a uniquely difficult position. And even within tech, I think it's uniquely difficult. I think other leaders in tech don't feel those same tensions and that need to kind of bridge societal problems with their direct reports. Like that's a really unique situation to be in.
Yeah, that is when we talk about burnout and wellness in this space, my brain definitely goes to the more downstream entry-level content moderator who's just seeing all this egregious content, and yes, like super important. But I don't know that I've ever had a specific conversation about the wellness implications for being a leader in trust and safety. That's a new perspective for me.
Yeah, and when you're a content moderator, for better or for worse, your job is so regimented that when you close your laptop at the end of the day, there's literally nothing else you can do. Like, you have done your allocated number of decisions for the day. You close your computer, you go home, you're done. Like, you can't do anything else. And if you're at the leadership level, it never stops. Like, you never stop thinking about it. And for me, at least, like, I would stay awake at night knowing that I had millions of people's safety on my shoulders and hundreds of employees' well-being on my shoulders at the same time. And it was terrifying. It's so scary and very difficult to put down at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure. So my question for you then is, how do you take care of yourself when you're feeling that way? And how do you take care of yourself, and what would you recommend others do for themselves who might be in a position of burnout or overwhelm?
So many things. I mean, the first thing I want to say when talking about taking care of yourself, I'm going to reframe your question slightly.
Go for it.
There's no magic trick to taking care of yourself. The thing that I get annoyed about the most in conversations about wellness and well-being is like asking for advice and then assuming that is going to apply for everybody else. So things that I personally do that really help: I meditate, I connect with a lot of people, I have a really strong community, I have a lot of peers at other companies who I can talk to who get it. If I'm having a bad day, I can text somebody and be like, I had a really hard day today. And they'll be like, girl, I know. I live in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and that is really helpful. I love to cook. I have, a dog. I spend time with my child. Like, all of these kinds of things that like get me out of the tech space. That's all really helpful. That said, I also was born with a personality that is somehow able to handle this kind of work. I don't know why or how, but I do think that there is fundamentally something that allows some people to compartmentalize in a certain way, or the satisfaction they get from the work outweighs the horrors of it or the stress of it. And that isn't something that can be fixed or taught by a walk in the woods. And so, whenever I have these conversations about wellness, I think the other thing that I always want to make sure that I say is like, sometimes those things won't work for some people. Like, some people are just not cut out to do trust and safety work. And that is not a bad thing about them. Like, no judgment whatsoever. It doesn't make them a worse person. It doesn't make me a better person that I'm somehow able to handle it. But I don't want to normalize the idea that like a little bit of therapy and a walk in the woods will solve anybody's problems who's working in trust and safety. Like, sometimes it's just not enough, and the only answer is to walk away and do something else, and that's okay too.
Well, yes, thank you for that super honest and nuanced perspective on wellness and trust and safety. I think everybody has really different answers there, but you're on the front lines every single day, and you're sort of supporting this community of those on the front lines too. So I hope I'm kind of speaking on behalf of the whole community here, but I think they would agree with me that everybody's really grateful for that kind of support, and we need more people like you to be out there sharing perspectives like that. So thank you. If you found that interesting, there's more to this conversation. You can catch additional highlights and the full Safe Space episode here.